Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Dabang Mornings with Shazia Khan, and it is indeed another honor for me to host Mr. Bill Rickert on the show today. Sir, you are running for Fort Bend County Treasurer. Welcome to Radio Dabang.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here and enjoy the opportunity to get the message out.
Absolutely, and I think this platform does exactly that. We are going to tell people who Bill Rickert is. What does a treasurer do? And why it is so important for us to vote for Bill Rickert.
Okay.
So tell us, sir. I was reading and I was doing my homework, and wow, what an impressive history and resume that you have. You have worked for great companies, and I was reading the vision statement, which is the overall vision of the county treasurer's office is to prioritize the interest of Fort Bend taxpayers by providing highly competent investment and funds management, offering the best customer service, delivering the highest quality operational services, and creating a productive employee work environment. Super important. So tell us about it.
Yeah. So I've worked pretty much all my life in the commercial side of things. I worked most of my life in the oil industry.
Yes.
And what I've done is try to bring to what we do at the county treasurer's office that customer-oriented gold effect, and in the world I was in, one of the big things was efficiency and improving the cost ratio of delivering the product. And so process improvement, using technology to do things better and cheaper, has always been ingrained in everything I do. So
I believe it is very important, the position that you're running for, to know what is happening around the world and having that worldview, especially when it comes to money, financing, and also the county taxpayers. You need to be like highly competent in competent investments to make. I would say, how much you find this job or being a treasurer important when it comes to the progression of the county or the county taxpayers to feel protected and secure?
Yeah, so protecting the finances and basically your money, the taxpayers' money, that is, the portion allocated to the county is the primary purpose of the office. So our staff, handles all the bank accounts, the movement of money. We also do payroll and other services within, but we're mainly an internal service provider for the county. In my past life, I worked for an international company, and it was a $2 billion corporation that we had offices all over the world, had people working in my organization all over the world working for me. And dealing with cultural diversity across the world has been something I've been doing for decades. And the Fort Bend County here is a microcosm of the world, right? I mean, we have everything. Every place I've ever been in the world is we have those cultures here. So it's been a big thing. And people always ask me how hard being county treasurer, how difficult is that compared to what you used to do? And it's like, the number one difference is, dealing with a single currency, right?
That's true.
When you're running a business, where you have all, working in all these different countries with different currencies, and the fluctuation, you bid a deal and you're going to make money on it, and then all of a sudden there's a currency fluctuation, and all of a sudden you're losing money. Nothing you did, it's just, the way. So dealing in a single currency simplifies things dramatically.
So you have come from dealing with all sorts of things and money, and then coming to. I noticed one thing that you mentioned is the cultural diversity that Houston, and especially Fort Bend County, offers. Beautiful county. Many people, I think it's like so many people coming from different cultures, cultural background, even different states coming and preferring whenever they come to Houston, that we want to live in Fort Bend County. May it be the schools, may it be the district itself, and then, of course, you are running now for treasurer. I also believe that when I was reading your website, creating a productive employee work environment. Now, people coming from all sorts of cultures and having that multiculturalism rooted in Fort Bend County, creating a productive employee work environment, how important it is, and how can a treasurer actually help in doing so?
Well, I believe, in being a leader, I've always, been in a position of managing people, well, for a very long time now. And, I'm a believer that if you take the role of boss, and you tell people what to do, you'll get maybe at the most 85% out
True.
of them, right? But if you are a leader
Yes.
and you lead by example and you encourage people and you mentor people and you bring them along, those people are there to give you 125% plus all the time if
Exactly.
if it's needed. So that's kind of the key thing. I've always been kind of the person in the organization where if there was someone struggling in the organization, they'd be like, oh, give him the Rickert. He can make anybody productive, right? So
You need a Rickert treatment. I love that. Absolutely.
So I just kind of had a reputation of always being able to work. I mean, the main thing is I like to step back and look at everything from the other person's perspective, right? Whether it's something going on in their life, whether it's something that's happened to them at the office already that sets a tone that's not good. So everything in life is better if you look at it from the other person's perspective. Even if it's your spouse, your children, everyone, it's always better to instead of being focused on what's happening for you, looking at it from that person's perspective.
And that's what we call having that empathy for others. And that altruism as well that you show, and bringing everyone together, and just being in their shoes and understanding what they're facing. And I think this is the element, this is the human factor, this is the empathy that we are looking for when we are trusting somebody, especially with our monies. Which brings me to my next question. Your core duties include receiving, keeping, accounting, paying, applying, and dispersing all monies belonging to the county. Now, where I see this is a very, very important job, extremely, and sometimes it requires a lot of effort and time and a lot of decision making. So how do you deal with that?
Well, when I first came in 2018, got elected in 2018, the first thing I did, being a process improvement guy, was take a look at how we do things, right? And one of the areas was in the perspective of business continuity, and what did we do during Harvey, and how did we react? And people don't think of they think of the sheriff's office, and they think of emergency response, and all things are the important things that have to go on during an emergency like that. But the county needs access to its money, right? In other words, to make things happen, right? So people need to get paid, and so taking a deep look at all the heroic efforts that were done by a lot of folks in the treasurer's office and other departments in the county, I said, we need to improve on that. So
You sure do.
Yeah. So basically, I took a good look, and we were able to. I had to go first of all. The budget cycle, with the county, is the budget's created, and you can't. It's hard to change in the middle.
Exactly.
So I had to go find funds to free up through our banking contract at the time, and utilize those so that we could automate the system where we could actually have laptops, get all our software working, we worked heavily on getting all our documents into the electronic management system so
Oh,
that
no,
we have
that's-
everything online.
Yeah.
And when I first came in, we were going through the first budget cycle there, and the team came to me and said, "Okay, we need this many file cabinets." And I'm like, "Whoa, I don't buy file cabinets."
I'm telling
know?
you, this may have required a lot of work,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
see, it gets easier.
Yeah.
later.
So,
Wow,
and they,
amazing.
And they were kind of like, asking me, so why are you so obsessed about business continuity and doing all this stuff and in such a hurry, and then all of a sudden COVID came along, and then we became leaders because we were already prepared to work from anywhere and get the job done.
I think sometimes as we were discussing before the interview, is the opportunities you were so humble to say that you were given right opportunities, and I was like, Mr. Rickert, you took and worked on those opportunities. That is the inner strength that you carry within yourself, especially starting an office and then facing a pandemic. It doesn't happen every day.
Yeah, no.
It doesn't. And starting a job and then facing things which everyone was facing maybe, and now pressure is on you to perform and to emerge as a leader that everybody depended and believed and trusted you with. And you did that. So congratulations on that.
Thank you.
I'm going to ask you something, and that is going to be about collecting the delinquent funds. Tell me, a person like you who's always like thinking about others, but what happens when the county treasurer is responsible for collecting the delinquent funds other than taxes?
Well, the only thing we operate on is it's not really delinquent. It's the as far as we're talking about externally collecting. So one of the functions we have is we do the managed collections for the JP courts.
Okay.
Right. So basically you have the district clerk does the district courts, the county clerk does the county court at laws, and we do the JP court. So we manage the collection program for judgments and those type of things on the system.
This is great. So tell us about something about your family. We would love to hear a person like you. And how do you manage family life? And I know where you are today, a great support system. It takes a village for a person to be where they are. And I'm sure your family had supported you all the way, but we would love to know about that.
Well, my wife and I were both born and raised in New Orleans, and we moved to Fort Bend County in 1992 when I was, following the oil industry and opportunities. And, we searched, all across Houston and decided on, Fort Bend County looked like the place to be. And after, moving here, I was working, traveling a lot internationally. And so it was my wife and my two daughters. At the time, well, one when we moved here, we had one was 2 years old, and then we had another one born several years later.
Aww.
Yeah.
So she's a Houstonian.
Yeah,
She's born and raised Houston.
Yeah.
That's
right down the road here at Memorial Hospital. Yeah.
How's the thing when they compare Houston, New Orleans, or the older one is Houstonian now as well?
Yeah. Well, I guess it's nice for all of us to have two homes.
Exactly.
Right?
Absolutely.
Most of our families back in New Orleans, extended family, we moved my mother and my father, who's passed away since, moving over here. But
sorry to
and
hear
then
that.
my mother-in-law, we moved them over here because they were getting older and needed more care in that. So we have them here. But other than that, all the extended families back in New Orleans. So we're always doing events. Having to go back home, and actually I have my oldest daughter is getting married the Saturday after the election.
Okay, so oh my God.
Yeah, in New Orleans.
I'm going to ask about all the nerves that you're having right now. How are you handling with all this pressure?
It's
exciting.
Yeah, it's exciting.
But
it's all,
it's happening all at one time.
Yeah, we have, so many things going. Well, we had our younger daughter got married a year ago, October.
Okay, now, so you're a pro now. You can handle the pressure.
And then my wife started up a new business April 1st this past
Brilliant.
spring. So, and then we have the other, my older daughter's wedding coming up, and then the election. It's, our we're all over the place.
Okay, so what I'm seeing here, a person who is handling so many things and still having a very beautiful, peaceful smile on his face, tells me a lot about you as a person. Tell me how resilient your personality is and how efficiency. I see on your website as well talking about that, and now I'm seeing this in person. That the way when you're talking about so many things happening at one time and dealing with them absolutely amazingly shows that what kind of a leader you are and how amazing it is, and actually a blessing to have you. Financial strength of our county is the future of our county, and I believe that with you being a treasurer for Fort Bend County doesn't have to worry about a single penny. And that's actually literally a single penny. So how would you like to educate our voters to actually vote for you, come out to vote? Early voting is starting. Election is very important. And by the way, congratulations for reaching this far. And I'm sure we know what's going to happen. I'm sure you're going to do great. But please educate or tell them whatever you would like to.
First,
them.
it's very important for people to recognize that positions like mine and other county positions, whether it be the judge positions or county clerk, even the commissioners and the county judge, they're all very functional decisions.
Yes.
Very functional positions.
Exactly.
And not like sending someone off to a legislative body where they're voting on policy all the time,
True.
right? And trying to set a direction. So you really need competent, qualified people that are proven, that know how to make things happen.
Right.
And I think that's the key thing, with myself and many of my counterparts is the ability to actually get things done and
Yes.
make things happen. And trust me, coming from the commercial world to the government sector, things move so much slower.
Yes.
If you look at, I like to describe county government as it's like a highly matrixed corporation with no CEO.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
each of us that's elected, our boss is the people,
Yeah.
right? And we have to answer to the people for what we do. And so you have to have good working relationships across all the elected officials and the department heads within the county, and drive, the direction as the county grows, because we're in an extremely fast-growing county, Fort Bend County.
Yes.
And you can't sit back and just, let things happen. You have to make them happen. And I guess that's mentioning that, that's one of my core fundamental philosophies that I've told my daughters over and over again is, there's two types of people in the world: those that let things happen and those that make things happen. And you don't want to be the one letting things happen to you.
Wow.
So, and that doesn't mean you have to be obnoxious, aggressive, or what. It just you're.
I believe you need to be consistent and strategic about things too.
Yeah.
And experience does count a lot. And as with your event, your experience is just amazing. I was so impressed. I also believe that vote is precious. It's almost like sacred, and it's the most powerful non-violent tool that we have. So why not use it? We should. And this is the moment. This is the time when you need it the most.
Yeah.
And I can see the competency, of course. You're oozing with that. Love that. Love the confidence and love the gun. And again, the humbleness. I personally believe that this human factor of relating with the people, and the likability factor, that's very important, because after all, you said that you are the boss, are the people. The people are watching. The people are the ones that you are answerable to. And I believe when people like you, that makes a big difference. And you are very, very, sir, likable. And I believe that this position is something that we all need you to be on. And I believe that this coming election, and people knowing you through this radio, this platform, they will know more about you. Is there any way they can reach out to you? Is there any website they can check out or know more about Bill Rickert?
Yes. So my website for the campaign is rickert.com, RICKERT.com. And my mobile number, which is always with me, is 713-377-1149. Like I always like to tell people, if you see my name on something, my mobile number is not going to be far behind it. And I'm always accessible. I may not be able to answer the call at the moment, but if you leave a message or text me, I'm happy to answer any questions about, I have a great staff in the treasurer's office, and as, I've always done in every other role I've ever had, we work on the perspective of if somebody calls and has an issue and it's not related to our office, we're going to help them get to where they need to be, right? And the person that, right, because the last thing people don't like, oh, that's not ours.
That's not us.
You need to call this, or you need to do, it's, and it doesn't take that much to take the extra step, right? And it doesn't happen that often that it consumes your time. It's always good. Like I said, you think about the person on the other end of the phone, think about it from their perspective, and help.
A problem solver. I love that. Thank you so much for that. I see some papers in front of you. Would you like to discuss something that's on the paper?
Let's see. I just, one of the things I wanted to talk about is the importance of whether it's the county or your personal money is securing it from the ability to have fraud. With all the federal money coming in now and all the programs for recovery from the shutdown, we have been writing checks to the general public.
Okay.
And because checks go out to the general public, account numbers are out there. So fraud attempts have skyrocketed.
Yes.
And we've implemented one of the things in our new banking contract, which the priority I set on that was technology and how we could improve things, companies typically do what they call positive pay, where you match the check number and the amount to, so you send a list into the bank, and then every check that gets, cashed, it matches up, and before it gets processed, if there's an exception, you have to approve it, right? So it helps stop some fraud.
Yes.
Well, what we implemented was one of the big things I pushed for was payee positive pay, where we're matching the payee name, which is more difficult because you're dealing with characters versus just as numbers, letters and punctuation and those type things. But we got that in place, which stops check washing, which is a common thing. Is as you see now in the post office, quite often the mailbox outside gets broken into. Well, what they're looking for is checks you've mailed, and then they change the name on the check and go deposit it in their account. And so we were able to implement that, and then in the next term, my objective is to move the county away from checks totally.
Oh, wow.
So we do more, more
File cabinets gone, checks gone.
Electronic,
Love that.
Electronic, where we can have, payee cards for our vendors, where they just get, charged up on those things and basically, move further and further away from checks.
I think this is the future.
Yep.
And Bill Rickert, the future awaits you, honestly. We need you. All right. So any information would you like to give out about the coming election time and encourage people to vote? Please do so.
So early voting starts Monday. And goes through November 4th. And in Fort Bend County, you can vote at any of the early voting locations, no matter where you live in Fort Bend County. And then Election Day is November 8th, and there's many more voting locations on Election Day, but less and less people are voting on Election Day.
True.
So and I advise you to get out and vote early, and get that checked off your list, and make sure you go all the way down the ballot, because we always think about voting for president or voting for governor or voting whatever, but those positions down the ballot are the ones that affect you more.
Exactly.
Right?
That's what I'm saying. So look out for Bill Rickert, the treasurer for Fort Bend County. Amazing, amazing. On behalf of Radio The Bang, myself, Shazia, and on behalf of Mike Khan and our executive producer, Tariq, we are so honored and grateful that you took some time out and you spoke with the people. We have a great listenership, and I'm sure people are listening to you and encouraging them to go out and vote, and also look out for Bill Rickert. I think that's going to make a big difference. But thank you so much.
Thank you.
Again, always an honor. Please feel free to join us whenever you would like to.
Okay.
And thank you on
Appreciate
behalf
it.
of Radio The Bang. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay.